Hello, today I'm going to work on the x-axis of the Prusa i3 MK3S printer. And in my last video, I worked on the y-axis. Now I'm going to do the next step. Let's get started. So, first step is to see all the parts. So, we need a 2.5mm Allen key wrench and a 2mm Allen key wrench. Now let's see what the next step is. So the next step is to prepare the X-end idler. So we need a X-end motor, which is in here. Here's X-end motor. Well, this is X-axis, actually. We need one X-end idler, which is actually a 3D printed part. There are only two 3D printed parts, and we're going to use that in this step, by the way. And we're going to have 4 linear bearings, which is in this bag. And each bag is labeled X-axis and the number, the step it is. So this is a linear bearing here. I need 3 more in here. Okay. And we also need an M3X18 bearing, M3X18 screw. We need 2 of those. M3N nylock nut, an M3NS screw, and 1 623H bearing with a housing, which is, I think it's in this bag here. Oops, everything fell out. Yeah, it's this part. This is the bearing with the housing. Now let's see what the next step is, once we have all the parts. Since we have all the parts. It says to insert the linear bearings, these linear bearings, into these 3D printed parts, but insert them on the side that does not have this this other hole. So like on this side here. Oh, my mistake. You need to put it on the other side, with the hole, like right through here. And you need to be careful. So you need to put the first bearing that you put in, the first bearing that you put in. You need to push it down first. It needs to be 45 degrees more than the second bearing that you put in, which is going to be the first slot here. So the second bearing is supposed to have there's a little groove in here, and it's supposed to be facing the bottom. And the second bearing is supposed to be 45 degrees, like to the left of that. Okay, so this is the completed 3D printed part with the bearings completely inserted into them. A little note about these: if you have trouble finding out what the 45-degree angle is, then just match that groove with a little less than this hole right here. And the same thing goes for this one, except for it is like mirrored. So yeah. Now let's see what the next step is. The next step is to work on the X-end tensioner assembly. So we need to take the square bracket, which is like the M3N nut, I think. Oh, I remember everything fell out in here. Sorry. So we need to take that, the M3N nut. Here it is, M3N nut, and insert it into the square, the rectangle slot at the base of the bottom of the 3D printed part with the motor holder here. And then there's like a little like oval shaped hole here, and that's where we're going to want to insert the screw, which is the M3X18 screw, which I believe is this kind of screw. So insert it into the oval shaped hole here. And you should see a smaller hole inside the oval shaped hole. So I'm going to insert and then tighten it. So wrenches over here. Okay, so you're supposed to screw the screw in until the head just reaches the surface of the hole. Now let's see what the next step is. The next step is to insert the bearing into this part. So this is the bearing assembly of the X-end idler. So first we're going to take the nylock nut. I'm going to take the nylock nut in here and place it in this little bump at the bottom here, with a hole for this. So the next step is the smooth rods pre-assembly. So we need to take the two longer rods of all the rods that we have. They are in this whole box here, this box, and take them out. I need two of those. There should be two of the same long length things. So this is one rod, and this is the other rod. Then I'm going to put the cap back on. We also need 3 linear bearings. So linear bearings are in here. So we need to insert these bearings into these two rods. One of the rods should have one bearing inserted to the middle, and then the other one should have 2 bearings inserted, and some space distance apart, but somewhere in the middle as well. So the next step is to combine these two 3D printed parts with these 2 rods. So we need to insert them into these 2 holes on here and these 2 holes on here. And make sure that that the rods that you insert, this one should have 2 bearings on them. So if you're facing the side with the 2 holes are facing in front of you, then you need to put it on the left hole on this one here. And then do the same thing for the other side. Now we're going to work on the X-axis motor pulley. So, we needed this motor, and we also need the G26 pulley. Which is in here. And now let's assemble the motor. We are going to take the motor and slide this onto there, and then secure it with these two holes, with these two screws in here. The next step is that we're going to assemble, we're going to attach the motor to this motor holder here. Okay, now that I've completed attaching the motor to the motor holder, let's see what the next step is. Oh, now it's time for me to eat a gummy again. So we need to eat a red one, a white one, a yellow one, and a green one. I'm going to eat them after this video. Thanks for watching. In my next video, I'm going to do the Z-axis assembly. Bye!